Okay, another day on IG Reels. Let's see what the feed looking like. Okay, a nice little gym girl talking about her gym fit. What are these comments looking like? Okay, maybe it's just that post. Another girl in a little gym fit, not the most modest, but I'm sure the comments are a lot nicer. No booty's crazy. So that right there is a comment of an incel. That is an incel commenting that. And it's usually coming from a place of insecurity or immaturity because one, they see a video of a woman just being a woman and they're upset because that woman has certain privileges that they don't have, or they have something going on within themselves that they have unchecked. So they want to feel the need to spread negativity and kick them to make themselves feel better, which is usually the characteristics of an incel. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I sympathize with that, the commenter. I sympathize with why they would feel that way, why they would feel the need to comment that, because I used to be an incel myself. And yes, I'm admitting that. It took a lot of self-reflection and self-understanding with myself to understand that at one point in my life, I used to be an incel. I had came off of a breakup in high school when I was like 17, 18. Besides this one night stand situation I had with a friend fresh off that breakup, I hadn't had sex for 3 years after that. 3 years. Well, I mean, I kind of did have this one sexual situation with this one girl, but it didn't really lead to any actual intercourse. I mean, if you guys want to hear about that, I can make a story time about that for another video. But the point is, I really didn't have any intimacy with any woman for 3 years. And that entire 3 years was the most incel time of my entire life. I was the most cynical, sadistic, judgmental person I had ever been. I looked down on people for the littlest things, and don't let a girl be out here displaying promiscuity. I was definitely, bro, I was judging the heck out of people like that because it was an insecurity that I had within myself because I wanted to be promiscuous myself. I wanted that action, but I didn't have access to it. So therefore it lead me to not necessarily going on comments and stuff because I don't think I ever was that down bad, going into comments and spreading my own insecurities or immaturity to random people online. But it was to the point to where within myself, I was mentally looking down on those people who were doing degenerate stuff. And it wasn't until I actually started working on myself. The catalyst for this was me working out and going to the gym. Once I actually started going to the gym in the end of my freshman year of college, 2018, and after from there until like around COVID time, so the next 2 or 3 years, that improvement that I made in my body made a world of difference. And not just the attention I got from women, but just the attention I got from people in general, my ability to make friends, my ability to pull, my ability to get in more intimate situations because I had self-developed myself to make myself a more propelling person. So therefore, I started to experience more things and started to make myself more understanding of different situations. Throughout that journey, I was still judgmental. Throughout that story, I was still somewhat of an incel. Throughout that journey, I would be honest, a lot of my misogyny control my mindset and opinions for a lot of things because things weren't even sunshine of roses even after I had, became a more attractive person, but things were better. So that helped me make progress towards being a better person, being the person that I am today, who isn't as judgmental, who doesn't look down on people. And I was very judgmental, let me tell you. Anybody who did any type of degenerate stuff, whether it was going out partying all the time, smoking, drinking, having pointless casual sex, having, a lot of criminal activity, I was looking down on you, man. I was looking down on you. And I luckily for me, I was in a situation where I never really participated in any of that activities. Well, that was mainly due to my self-isolation because I really didn't have the facilities, the access to be around a lot of people, especially not women, and have them actually attracted to me. So that led to a lot of self-isolation. But since I was in that mindset, that kind of helped me build the maturity that I have today. What I mean by that is due to the fact that I was isolating myself and staying away from a lot of degenerate activities, my ego, that was how I identified within my ego. My ego was based upon the fact that I was different than everybody else. I didn't do all that stuff. Of course, it was more so the fact that I really wasn't in the spaces to do those things, even though I wouldn't mind doing it. My ego was based off the fact that I was different than a lot of people and didn't do a lot of that stuff. So I thought, okay, since I'm already doing these things, which I would consider more valuable than what everybody else is doing, how can I make myself the most valuable person possible? I'm already working out, building my body, becoming a better man. What are some identities that the best men have that I can exhibit to be the best version of myself? Well, one, which was kind of unproductive, and I can make a video talking about how that affected me, just being as unemotional, numb to feelings as possible, like just being completely, stoic in how I act in every situation and how I feel things, which led me to bottle in a lot of my emotions so I wasn't able to express it. But a positive aspect that I did took from that is I decided, well, I since I'm not going to move based off emotion, I'm going to move based off objectivity. I'm going to move based off being rational with myself. So I'm going to try to be as unbiased as possible with everything and take a pure objective approach to everything. And of course, there was still a lot of biases that I had. Of course, I'm human. I'm going to feel biased towards issues, especially issues that affect me. Like, when it comes to male issues, if I see a girl, online tweeting about how much he hates men and all men are trash and all of that, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna, talk shit back, even if what her points that she's saying is valid. I'm just doing that because I feel attacked in that situation, even though she might be saying something that may be true, may be rational. But I did have biases in those situations. But how that led me to kind of accelerate my maturity instead of being very radical one side or another side, which a lot of people are today, is since I was trying to be as objective about a lot of different situations as possible, I was able to take things from multiple different perspectives and gather my opinion from that. I was one of those people who was just out here and being like apolitical. Oh, I don't care about politics. Oh, they're all the same. Trump, Kamala, Obama, Biden, that's all the same. And although I did feel that was the right way to go about it then, now due to my maturity and willingness to take other new perspectives, even criticism, I started to understand that a lot of things that I didn't care about before, like politics, social issues, things that didn't have effect directly on me, I started to take them into consideration and being more considerate about a lot of different things, like issues when it came to women, issues when it came to, the black community. I would be honest, I didn't really care that much about the black community, to be honest, because I was judgmental. I was in that headspace. I did kind of have this kind of white supremacist mindset to where I feel like a lot of the issues that black people experience now is put on to themselves because they're out here acting the stereotype, they're out here acting ghetto, they're out here doing criminal activity. But then I started to understand that everybody is a product of their environment. And I started to consider the nuances of a lot of different situations, how a lot of people's circumstances lead them to become the person that they are today, rather than looking at this one dimensional and being like, okay, this person acts this type of way, so they must be this type of person. And there's no excuse for any type of behavior that they have. But there are ways that you can excuse different people's behavior even if that is borderline psychotic. Like, there's nuances to everybody's behavior. Everybody's a product of their own environment. So when I started to educate myself and look deeper in it, I started to be less judgmental about different people in different situations. Started to care more about issues when it came to women, LGBTQ, trans issues, the black community. I didn't judge people for the different situations that they were in. I didn't look at a black person who acts a stereotype and just being like, oh, they can't be helped. I didn't look at a woman who was very promiscuous or participated in sex work and be like, oh, she's low value, she's used goods. I didn't even, I'm be honest, nowadays, I don't even look at people who look down on me because of my skin tone, who are of a racist demographic. I don't even look down on a lot of racist people because of that, because I understand everybody is a product of their own environment. And some stuff can't be excused though, but I start to consider the nuances of different situations instead of immediately judging people just based off what I see because of certain biases that I have in my head. And I had people very close to me who did a lot of stuff that I looked down on, bro. Like people, friends, family. I used to be judgmental. People who I shared blood with, just judgmental of things that they did. I was that type of person, bro. If you were overweight, if you were out here constantly drinking, smoking, partying, when you're struggling to pay the bills, had a bunch of different kids from a bunch of different people, had kids out of wedlock, was out here having constant, pointless, casual sex, had criminal activity. I had people close to me doing that who I looked down on. But then I started to really understand the situation. And I'm so lucky. And shout out to my parents for setting up this foundation for me to where I wasn't influenced by any of that stuff. They are the real heroes that helped me develop and become the person that I am today and be able to help spread this message and hopefully resonate with somebody, because they helped me get to a point to where they built a foundation to where I wasn't influenced by any of that stuff. I wasn't like a lot of my friends or even cousins who were participating in different stuff. I had cousins who were in and out of jail. I had friends who are no longer alive because of decisions that they made, because of the environment that they brought up with. I had people who I was sitting in a lunch table with in high school who are doing life in prison or who are 6 feet under in a graveyard because unfortunately they were influenced by their environment. And I was literally grew up a subdivision away from that. If I lived in a subdivision, different subdivision away, I could have been that same person. I'm the person I am because of my environment, because of the influences I had growing up, because of how I was nurtured. And unfortunately, the people who ended up in those unfavorable situations are done that because of their unfavorable circumstances. And really, you just got to be thankful for the situations that you grew up with. But you also have to use that to also make yourself a better person, become more open-minded, because you're not going to make the world a better place by looking down on people, judging people, not understanding their situations, because some stuff or everything has nuances. Right? So once you start to consider the nuances, you're going to be less judgmental. You're not going to be warranted to comment on pictures or videos of women doing stuff that may come off as unmodest and just completely shitting on them. Like, that's loser behavior, bro. You're not going to see a video of black people doing stuff that may be considered stereotypical and just look down on them. You're not going to look down. You're not going to see a minority group of people doing things that are stereotypical and just completely shit on them, bro. You're not going to have that mindset. You're going to start to understand, first of all, you're not even going to really care that much if you see that stuff. If you're over here commenting on girls' pictures just because it comes off as a little promiscuous, being like, oh, she's used goods, oh, she's this, and that, bro, you're a loser. It's coming from a place of insecurity and immaturity, bro. So you need to cut this. You need to cut it out, bro. You're a dork. You're a dork in every sense of the word. So you need to take the time to reevaluate and understand what's going on inside yourself to become a better person. And I really didn't get to that point. I'm still learning. I'm still growing. I'm still becoming a better person. And one thing that really set the catalyst for me recently is a relationship that I just got out of with a recent ex. And shout out to her. I got so much love for her. She taught me so much. But I started to look at, for after not being in a relationship for so long, after not being in a relationship for 8 years, almost a decade, I start to have some judgments. I start to not really understand a lot of different things. I started to judge people's relationships, how they acted, how they did stuff in relationships. I used to be the type of guy to be like, oh, I never do that for a woman. I never do that. I never date that type of woman. But after actually being in a relationship and dating someone who was so different than me, I started to understand the nuances, the type of, I started to understand people who weren't like me and have a lot more sympathy for their situations. And that's what I feel like the world needs, a lot more sympathy than what it has now, because y'all are just judgmental, bro. Y'all are going under in social media, running rampant, just judging people. And I want y'all to take the time to understand that, hey, you may have some things going on within yourself if you feel the need to judge somebody so badly. It's not something that's going on with them. People are going to be people, bro. Let people live. Let people express themselves. Let people be better. As long as they're not directly hurting anybody, you don't need to have a brash opinion on anybody. You don't need to be judging women for being promiscuous. You don't need to judge, anybody for the behaviors that they have, if they're going out, being degenerates, doing a bunch of stupid stuff, if she got multiple kids by multiple baby daddies, what does it matter? It's none of your business. You don't need to judge anybody for that, bro. You don't need to judge anybody, bro. If a dude is out here, paying for prostitutes and that's the only way he can get laid, let him be that. If you don't feel like that, he's a high value person because of that, oh well. That if that's what makes them happy, let people do a video cut off there, but just let people do what makes them happy, man. But if you watch this late into the video, man, I appreciate you guys for watching. My phone overheated right there at the end because I was recording for a good minute. This video is a little long, but I'm just going to just throw it all in there. But yeah, man, appreciate you guys for watching. Like and subscribe. See you guys in the next one.